Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the College Hockey South podcast. My name, as always, is Henry Yoho. And on this week's episode, we were joined by two different guests. First, we were joined by Pete Bunch, the captain of the Tennessee Volunteers, who recently won the College Hockey South Division II championship in Huntsville. So we talked to Pete about the season that so far, them winning the College Hockey South championship. And we also talked to Pete about being our first ever Best in Flow champion. From the men's side, we talked about him winning the award and where the team is going to be using the money here in the near future for the winnings of the Best in Flow tournament. And then our second guest, we also had Matias Weir, the Division II MVP from Florida Atlantic University. We kind of look back on his hockey journey coming from Argentina, his journey that brought him to Florida Atlantic, and how the season's kind of unfolded for them and the Owls so far this season. So I really enjoyed talking to both of them. We're going to send it over to our first interview now with Pete Bunch, the captain of the Tennessee Volunteers, right now. All right, and welcome back to the College Hockey South podcast. I am now pleased to be joined by the captain of the Tennessee Volunteers, who recently won the College Hockey South Division II championship, and our first ever men's Best in Flow winner, Pete Bunch. Pete, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. So we're going to dive into this past weekend and look ahead to nationals down the road. But first, I wanted to talk about you winning the Best in Flow, the first ever tournament for us in College Hockey South. What was kind of the response from your teammates and everything whenever everyone found out that you were the winner?
It was pretty fun. We got there to the tournament on Friday night, and I got some hints from CHS workers that I had won, and yeah, so I let the boys know a little early, and they were all really excited about it.
Gosh, yeah, that's funny. And then $5,000 going to the Tennessee program. How are you guys going to be using that? I know that nationals are coming up down the road. Is that kind of where things are going to be going towards?
Yeah, that's the primary goal, is transportation and hotels for nationals, and we're going to be starting a GoFundMe here in a minute to raise some funds for nationals.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, and talking about the conference tournament, you guys were coming in as the top team from the North Division. What was kind of working right for you guys? Got things coming together at the right time. What was kind of working for you guys over the weekend that led you guys stringing together 3 straight wins for the championship?
Yeah, well, everybody came ready to play that weekend. We haven't really had that all season. We've had a couple on and off games where everybody's come to play, but this weekend everybody really locked in and wanted to win. So we played very well together.
Yeah, I was going to ask too. Was there any point in the season where there was kind of a turning point where your team's game started heading in the right direction? I know kind of early in the season it was kind of a mixed bag. A lot of weekends you win one game, lose one game. Was there any sort of point where things kind of started heading in the right direction, or did things kind of just come together at the right time for you guys?
Yeah, there wasn't really any one time when it came together and we were like, this is it. But every single game we've played, we've had certain periods where we all played together really well, did our systems the way we needed to, and we won. But then at the same time, we'd play a game the next day and not do what we needed to do and just make the coach mad and everybody gets frustrated. But yeah, this weekend it all just seemed to click. Everybody was bought in. Nobody was arguing at all. It all worked out good.
Yeah. So, what was kind of the expectation for you guys coming in? Like I said, you guys were the top ranked team coming from the North Division, but I think it might have caught some people by surprise because I think so many people were impressed by the season that Florida Atlantic was having. They obviously got knocked out in the semifinals. You guys didn't end up facing them. Was the expectation for you guys to kind of come in and still be a big winner, even though I feel like a lot of teams were kind of expecting Florida Atlantic to be there at the end?
Yeah, it's what our coach said before. He said, this is our best chance at some hardware. So that's what we all came ready to do for the weekend. So we weren't really expecting, everybody wants to win, but we weren't going to be heartbroken if we didn't, because it hasn't happened in 15 years. So
yeah,
we were ready to play, and we came in, and once we were watching that FAU Clemson game, we were all sitting in the conference room at the hotel watching, and we saw Clemson win. We were like, okay, we might have a real shot at this.
Yeah, no, it's crazy how it came together. And you mentioned your coach. That's something I wanted to ask you about. Drew King, coach, coming off the ice from playing just a season ago. What's it been like having a first year head coach behind the bench, someone who was on the team with you guys last season? What's kind of been like how the messages kind of come together from a really recent former player for you guys?
It's been good. We've all enjoyed it. He had a meeting with us at the end of last season and the beginning of this season saying, guys, I'm not your teammate anymore. I'm your coach now. So there needs to be that level of respect between our relationships, and he's done a very good job of adapting to that, and everybody's respecting it very well. So it's been a really good transformation over.
Yeah, no, it's certainly cool. Like so many programs across College Hockey South have former players stepping in behind the bench. So that's certainly something that's been pretty cool to see. I wanted to ask you as well about your goaltender, Patrick Green. He ended up winning our most recent College Hockey South Player of the Week. Had a big weekend in net for you guys. In the two games, only gave up 2 goals and 64 saves made on 66 shots in the 2 games. Only a single goal against in both games that he started. And obviously, you guys both won. What was it kind of like playing in front of a goaltender who was kind of getting hot for you guys too at the right time?
Yeah, it makes things easier for sure. It's because anytime they have shots from the outside, we know he's going to be stopping them. So we just play to that. So we just keep the guys out of the front of the net, make them shoot from the outside, and trust that he's going to make those saves. So it
And
makes
you
things
guys,
much easier.
yeah. And I was going to mention too that like you guys are kind of in a unique situation because so many teams, after the conference tournament and nationals, they kind of take the whole period off, like the whole 2 or 3 weeks, whatever it ends up being. And you guys actually have 2 games coming up this weekend. And that's right against at home. You guys are hosting Auburn. What's gonna be kind of like the message like from you as the captain to like kind of get you guys ready like for nationals coming up down the road? Whereas like so many other teams are taking the period off and you guys are kind of getting a chance to stay in shape. Like what do you want to see like from your team's game to get it trending in the right direction for nationals?
Yeah, we're going to try to keep going with what we had last weekend. We're going to coming into this game, it's a Division 1 team, so they
Mhm.
haven't played in a while. They were left out short of the CHS tournament. So we know they're going to have a chip on their shoulder. They're not going to be coming out light against us, but we're going to try to keep those systems going and really get ourselves up for nationals.
Gotcha. And I saw too, like the groups came out this week for Division 2. You guys are going to be the top ranked team in your group, but you guys also have the University of Tampa as the second ranked team, and that's who you just played in the semifinals of the conference tournament. What's it going to be kind of like at nationals, seeing Tampa again? Obviously, you guys are going to be kind of a marked team for them because you just knocked them out. What's it going to be kind of like having a team that you're already familiar with that you're going to be going up against in pool play?
Yeah, it definitely helps already knowing the team. We watched a good bit of film before our game against them last weekend, and so we know what we're going to be coming up against there. We're not real familiar with the other teams, but our assistant coach Harry Cadmus does a good job of pulling film, and we'll probably watch a good bit of that before we play.
Hmm. And I also just want to see like a kind of big picture, like what are you guys like hoping to like accomplish at nationals? I know that last year you guys weren't able to make it out of the group, but like what is kind of like your goal ultimately? Obviously it starts with pool play, 3 straight games in 3 days. It's a tough grind to just get out of the group. So what are you hoping to see from your team, at least in the pool play stages?
Yeah, we've all been talking about it, and we think we have a good shot of getting out of pool play. That's our main goal, is get out of pool play and then go from there. So just try to have a good first few games and get out of there.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, it's a crazy grind. 3 days in a row having to get out of the pool and then no days off, continuing and then to the knockout rounds. It's a crazy grind. I had a couple of bigger picture questions for you now. So I was seeing on the team website. You're actually from Knoxville, is that right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. So like what should people know like about like hockey going on in Knoxville? Like what's kind of like the presence of the game there and like the following? Because I think so many people when they hear like hockey in Tennessee, like everyone's mind goes to Nashville, and with like Knoxville and the University of Tennessee, everyone thinks about football. What should people know about like hockey actually specifically in the Knoxville area?
Yeah, it's not too big. So my freshman year, probably up till junior year, anytime I'd talk to somebody and say I play for the university hockey team, they're like, "Oh, we have hockey here." So nobody knows about it. But the last year and this year, every time I talk about it, like, "Oh, you're on the hockey team." So it's definitely growing a lot. And there's obviously the Knoxville Ice Bears here, the SPHL
Mhm.
team. We play in their rink as well, and that helps grow the sport a lot. And I know the youth program here, Kaha, is doing pretty good. Their youth numbers are up quite a bit bigger than before. So it's definitely growing, and I love to see that.
Yeah, and I was gonna say like since you guys like have your own rink there in Knoxville, like how big is that like an advantage for you guys like with getting players to come and play? I know like so many programs across College Hockey South and like smaller college towns and stuff, they don't have rinks, in their towns and everything. They got to travel. Like for you guys, it's pretty nice to have the rink there in Knoxville. Like how big of a deal is that for you guys?
It helps a lot. Just being 5 minutes from campus, it's super easy to go over there for practice, and we don't have guys missing because of homework and stuff. Like occasionally there's those things, but most of the time everybody's there. It's just a quick 5 minute drive, go practice, come back, and ready to go to bed in time for class in the morning.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's been impressive to see like how big the game has like become there in Knoxville and Tennessee. Like, how much of that do you like attribute to the Predators and like their community outreach and like how successful the team has been like in recent years and like as far as like growing the game there in the Tennessee area?
I think it's helped a lot. Like I was saying before, with our youth program, the Preds have stepped in and helped try hockey for free. They're doing that program here, and myself and a few other guys that have been on the ice balls, and I think a couple are there's a few on the D3 team now that played for the junior Preds in Nashville. So I did that all of high school. I played for junior Preds and then came back here, but they've definitely helped grow the sport a lot here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure. And then one last question I have for you was, where do you think like things can go like with the University of Tennessee hockey team like down the road? You know, these programs in College Hockey South kind of keep getting bigger every year, and I always think about the traditional SEC schools like you guys and in Georgia and Alabama. The programs keep getting bigger and better. What do you think like things can go for the hockey program, you know, in the long term, like in the next 10, 15 years? Do you see like a world potentially where potentially Tennessee could be having an NCAA team like somewhere down the road? Do you think that that's possible eventually at some point?
Obviously, that'd be the number one goal, but
Hmm.
yeah, it's difficult to do that. I'd like to see it. We're hoping to have a CHS D1 team here pretty soon if they let us, but we definitely have enough numbers to do it. But yeah, if we could go NCAA D1 maybe 10, 15 years from now, it'd be huge for SEC.
Yeah, no, I thought that you guys would be like kind of a leader of the charge there in that department if that were to happen someday, especially since you guys already have ice there in Knoxville, and that's such a big component that everyone's looking for. So, well, thanks so much, Pete. Congrats to you on the Best in Flow Championship and the conference championship for you and the team as well. So I can't thank you enough for joining, and I wish you guys the best of luck here at Nationals in a couple weeks.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you bet. All right, and welcome back to the College Hockey South podcast. I am now pleased to be joined by the College Hockey South Division II MVP, Matias Weir. Matias, thanks so much for joining us, man.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So, we have a lot we're going to dive into looking back on the season that was so far for you guys and kind of looking ahead to nationals. A big year for you as an individual and Florida Atlantic as a team. 54 points for you in the 23 games. What was kind of working right for you and the team over the season to have so much success?
Honestly, this is obviously the best team we've had since I've been here at FAU, and we've just had so much depth to where, I mean, anybody in the lineup can play at any time in the game, and that's been our biggest thing. And we got a new coaching staff who's been preaching on better systems, and just he's able to coach the way that we need to be coached, and preaches, bringing pucks up ice because we're a really fast team, and that's been a huge part of our success.
Yeah, and one thing like I've known like watching you guys over the years, you've got a bunch of guys who've been playing together for like a long time, like a lot of older guys, and you've got a good mix of like some veterans and stuff. Like we also got younger guys as well. Like, what's it kind of like having a group of guys who've been playing together and like things are kind of coming together for you guys like this season?
Yeah, I mean, you have me, David Israel, Miles Davidson, Jake Friedman. We've been together for a while now, and we started when the team wasn't so great and kind of built this program up, and we've had a lot of help from like Dan Bogman, who does a lot of recruiting and stuff, and just the social media presence that we bring as well. Like, we've been really popular on social media, and we get a lot of DMs every day, and that's how we're getting all these kids that want to come play here in Florida. I mean, who doesn't want to play college hockey in Florida? So it's nice to have these veterans to do it with us, and we can just kind of lead by example and show all the freshmen who are coming in, and what it really takes to be a winning team. And we also obviously got a lot of really good freshmen who played high division or high juniors, or they played AAA or whatever they played, and which has helped a lot, and which is why we're so deep.
Yeah, for sure. That was with your group having played together and stuff for so long, like I feel like things are kind of like it's like the right place at the right time for you guys. One thing I've noticed about your team this year is like you guys have scheduled so many Division I opponents. Obviously, this is the first year of having Division I as well. Has been scheduling Division I like been a priority for you guys to kind of enhance your resume, kind of heading into nationals, getting different opponents coming up, because you guys only lost 2 games over the whole season against Division II opponents, and is kind of broadening like your the competition, like a huge thing, like going towards nationals as well.
100%. I feel like it helps us to play Division I teams. It prepares us to play the Division II teams, and obviously you have University of Tampa, who's really good. And then we played Farmingdale and Delaware. And it's just good to play different opponents and especially teams from up north because it's just a little bit of different hockey. And obviously, you don't know anything about them. All the teams in Florida we already know. We've played before. So we kind of know what they're all about. But playing new teams is really helpful. And we had two more actually games scheduled against D1 teams, but unfortunately got canceled, which kind of sucks. But it just helps us. I mean, obviously you have the D1 teams that are going to be better than your most of the D2 teams. So yeah, it helps a lot.
Yeah, for sure. And I was going to look back in a moment at the College Hockey South playoffs and ahead to nationals. But before we kind of dove into that, I wanted to hear like a little bit of your hockey background. I know that you're originally from Argentina, which is obviously something you don't hear a whole lot of in the hockey world. So give us a little background on like how your sort of hockey journey kind of came to be.
Yeah, so I played soccer until I think I was a freshman or sophomore in high school. I believe it was freshman year. Or end of I started. I know I started playing hockey in the summer of freshman and sophomore year, summer. So I moved to Chicago, and one of my friends, Logan Oman, he lived down the street. He's like the first kid I met in Chicago, and he had a backyard ice rink because I moved in the winter, and so I just went out there with him with a stick and a ball, started messing around, just shooting and stuff, and I fell in love with it. So I wanted to try it. So I started playing rec, which is kind of like in-house. It's kind of just you go to the rink, borrow your gear, and play for a couple months. And I started doing that and just kept with it. And then I think I played 2 years of rec. I played 1 year of spring travel in Chicago. And then I moved to El Paso, took a year off because I was playing soccer again. So sophomore year, yeah. So took a year off because I moved there kind of too late to join the high school team, and hockey obviously isn't really popular in El Paso. And so I met one of my friends, played for the high school team, begged me to start. So I started playing high school, started playing travel U16. And then I moved to here, Florida, when I was 18 and stayed here and started playing juniors at 18 and played all 3 years here. And yeah, I just fell in love with it and stuck with it. Quit soccer. So sorry, my phone fell. Took all my time to hockey and that's how it got started. And then after my second year of juniors here, Argentina found me on Elite Prospects because it says I'm from Argentina.
Right.
Then I started playing for them, and now we're here.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know it's crazy, like seeing like your journey going across, like not only in this country, different parts of the country and everything. It's crazy to follow. Obviously being in different parts of North America, like who's like the NHL team that you claim? I know you spent time in Chicago and now be in South Florida. Like, is the Blackhawks kind of the team that you claim as your NHL franchise?
Yeah, so back to my buddy Logan. His dad actually works. He has a big role for the Blackhawks. So his office is in the locker room. He travels with the team all the time, and so when I lived there, he would bring us to games all the time. He'd bring us in the locker room, meet all the players. In 2010, when they won the Stanley Cup, he was sleeping at my house because both of his parents were in Philly, and I wake up the next morning to his dad at my house with the Stanley Cup. So brought it to my house and stuff. Yeah, we played street hockey for it. Really cool. Got me Patrick Kane shirt here.
Yep.
Signed for my birthday. So yeah, Hawks for my team. Patrick Kane's my guy. And yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, it's the future's looking so bright for Chicago, so it's definitely something to be excited about after such an impressive run over the last decade. And one other thing I wanted to ask is, like, obviously being from Argentina, is there much of a hockey presence, in Latin America in general? Is it something that many people are playing down here? Obviously, you don't hear too much about it, but is there sort of a presence of the game down in that part of the world?
Yeah, so it's growing a lot. They have a couple roller rinks up there, and then they have like a really small ice sheet. It's tiny. They're trying to work on getting an IHF size rink there. It's just money's kind of hard. So
Sure.
And they also have an outdoor rink in Ushuaia, which is like the most southern part of the world, but you can only play in the winter because it's fully outdoor. Really beautiful. So I'm like right by the mountains. It's really cool, and it's really growing. I mean, they have a bunch of age groups now. They go from roller to ice, and obviously our IHF team, our national team's growing. We're getting a bunch of guys who are Argentine that we never knew about, who are playing high level junior or college. So we're picking up guys. We found a couple Canadians that were born in Argentina, then moved to Canada at a young age. So hockey is definitely growing there. And it's just really cool to see how, in a lot of these different countries where hockey is not popular, it's just completely growing and turning into one of their favorite sports. So the goal is to keep it growing and eventually somehow get funding to build that rink and try to host a tournament actually in Argentina.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was curious, like for somebody like you who's spent so much time in different parts of this country and other countries as well, obviously. What was it about FAU that made it like the place that you wanted to spend like the next chapter of your life and continue your hockey career?
Yeah, so at the beginning, when I was playing my last few juniors, I really wanted to go play NCAA D3, and I was really into it, and I had a really good year my last year, and I kind of was just over it in a way.
Hmm.
And I just loved Florida. My best friends were going to FAU that were on my team. I had a bunch of friends that I knew that were also in the same boat playing juniors and wanted to come to FAU. And um, Dan Bogman, who's obviously a recruit I mentioned earlier, was trying to recruit me. And at the time, FAU was not anywhere near where we are now. We were playing
Yeah.
in Palm Beach Iceworks, which is a different rink where we had zero fans. Um, and I don't know, it was just something about staying in Florida and being with all my friends, my family's here, and um, I can tell you it's the best decision I've ever made because you can still take it seriously, but not too seriously, and have fun as well. And um, I just didn't want to leave. Honestly, it was just the main thing, and yeah, it was the best decision I've ever made. FAU is it's awesome. For anybody wanting to play college hockey in Florida, I highly recommend FAU. It's a blast. We get like 800 to 900 fans a game. It's crazy now. Like we get honestly, it's probably more. That's just people that pay, not sneak in through the front
Right.
door. It's a
Sure.
blast, man. Oh fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was also wondering too, like you guys have such things are kind of growing there and everything. Do you see like a world where like Florida Atlantic hockey is just like becoming like so big that you guys are like becoming like somewhat of a destination? I noticed I talked to David Israel about it earlier this season. Like, do you think like Florida Atlantic can become like a destination for players to want to come to and kind of like bridging the gap between like this level of the game and like someone like you who was trying to play NCAA D3 at one point? Like, do you think like the gap is kind of shrinking? Because places like this down here in Florida are becoming such an attractive option for players like of your caliber.
100%. I mean, it's also just like Hockey House Pod
Mm-hmm.
completely growing the game of club hockey. Like
Yep.
I feel like it's not just FKU, but it's just club hockey in general. Like now we have a social media presence where you have all these schools getting all these fans and they're posting it and following it, and now it's going viral. Like you have these club teams who are playing outdoor games and packing it, which is
Mm-hmm.
crazy. And but yeah, I think FAU and University of Tampa are definitely becoming destination spots here in Florida. I feel like all the northern places like New York, New Jersey, it's a lot of guys that are from there, especially FAU and Tampa. So um, I think the success that FAU and Tampa's having is obviously bringing people here because I feel like just Florida's a destination for New Jersey and New Yorkers, I mean, in general. And
For
now that
sure.
we have really successful hockey teams that, you know, are bringing all these ex junior players who want to play NCAA or ex AAA guys who are really good. So it's helping grow the club sport game a lot here. And I think it's just going to keep growing. And eventually you never know what can happen. It's as long as I mean, if schools fund the programs really well, you never know. I mean, who knows what the future brings.
Yeah, no, it's certainly cool because like I've seen like so many players selecting to play like at this level instead of like wanting to play at some smaller school like up in the Northeast or something and play D3. It's a lot of cool seeing a lot of players wanting to go this route instead.
Yeah,
And so I
exactly.
wanted to look back as well at the College Hockey South tournament this past weekend. Obviously, you guys ended up coming up short in the semifinals against Clemson. Obviously, a tough loss after having such an amazing season. But everything obviously that you guys want to accomplish is still in front of you guys at nationals. Um, what do you think you can take from like that experience of losing to a team like Clemson? Like, can you look at it in sort of a positive light, whereas like you remember kind of the feeling of what it was like to come up short and like what you took away from it and kind of could use it towards nationals in a positive way?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, for us veterans that have been there for quite a while now, it's been the same thing every year. So we've kind of dealt with it, and it's just a learning point for the new guys coming in and the freshmen and the rookies that are playing because, I mean, basically every time we've had a 2 goal lead, and then we end up blowing it and losing. And for me, I feel like we haven't really lost this year. I feel
Yeah.
like we've just beaten ourselves every game.
Hmm.
And it's just playoffs. It's different. It's not regular season. I feel like all these matchups we've had in the regular season, like it's just different. It's playoffs. It's one game and you're done. So it was little mistakes on our end. You got to give Clemson credit. They came to play, and it's the little details of the game. It was the little things and stupid turnovers while we lost, and we just got to come together as a team and just grind it out. And we have to adjust our play style a little bit because we're a very skilled, fast team, but you're not always going to win off pure skill and speed. So yeah, I mean, it's just it's crazy that it's almost over for a lot of our group, but hopefully we can get it done in nationals.
Yeah, and I was going to mention too, like I said before, like everything you guys wanted to accomplish, like nationally, is like all still right in front of you. You guys got the top overall seed in the tournament, and obviously in your group as well. So like you guys also have Embry Riddle is also going to be in your group, a team that you're obviously pretty familiar with, and then you've got Ramapo as well from New Jersey, and then Penn State Harrisburg as well. Theoretically, as the top seed, you get like an easier draw, according to like the rankings and everything. So like, what's kind of be the mentality for you guys, like getting out of pool play and here in the next couple of weeks?
Well, for me, I mean, rankings to me don't mean anything. I think
Yeah.
the rankings are whatever.
Mhm.
Who says we're number one? Who says that they're number 10 just off big games that we've played? Like we lost to number 6 in our conference, who was Clemson, who was a very good team. We saw Tennessee play; they're a very good team as well. So I just think there's so many good teams, and I just keep reminding that our team that we're not number one. To stop
Mhm.
thinking that we're number one, to stop acting like we're number one, because I feel like we get too complacent, a little too cocky, and it's
Sure.
happened a lot in nationals where we just show up thinking we're a top team and we're just going to blow by everybody because it's not going to be the case, and we just have to show up with the mentality that we want it more than them, and just want it more. I mean, we got to be more desperate. I feel like in playoffs here we were a little bit complacent and just expected to win, kind of just blow by every team, and it's just not going to be the case. And we've yet to come out of pool play with all these high rankings we've had. So
Sure.
I'm kind of sick and tired of that. So I'm just trying to preach and lead by example here that the rankings literally don't mean a thing, and all it
Yeah.
takes is one game, run into one hot goalie, run into bad refs, run into anything. You never know. So we just got to make sure we show up to every game and show up with that mentality, and hopefully we can get out of pool play and start from there because we haven't gone out of pool play yet.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that just because it's so tough having to play 3 days in a row in pool play, and
Let
then
alone
all.
six. Yeah.
Yeah, no, six if you're going the distance. So like, what's gonna be different for you guys like this time? Like, can you draw on like the past experience of like knowing kind of what it takes? I know, like you mentioned before, like you guys have been a higher ranked team a lot of the time, but like, what's gonna be different for you guys? Like, being able to draw off the past experience of what it takes to go through that sort of grind of having to play each day.
I just think from all the kids this year, they can see the frustration and all the veterans. We have about 10, I think 10 guys who are this is their last year. So they've seen it in us. We've preached about it. And I just feel like just the veterans themselves, we're sick and tired of choking every year and knocking out a pool play. So I just feel like all the rookies and the new guys are like coming in and following us, and we just have to be different. I mean, like I said earlier, we're a very skilled team, but playoffs is a different game. So if we don't have our plan, if we don't have our A game, what's our B game? So um, we just got to show up with the it's a go time mentality and it's do or die every game, and just try to forget about the rankings, forget about who we're playing. It doesn't matter, and just show up and run everybody through the wall. So
Gotcha. Yeah. So last question I had for you, kind of going off of that too, is like, how big of like a sort of like a rallying cry or something, like teams come together behind like the veterans who might be their last ride, older guys like yourself. What's gonna be like getting the team to kind of come together and want to have that kind of be like an extra motivation for you guys here on the national stage, wanting to send a lot of the veterans out at a high note and kind of
yeah, I
cap
mean,
off the season.
yeah. So obviously, we really wanted playoffs. We really wanted to win that. We really wanted to bring that trophy home, and we've been preaching about playoffs and nationals all year. And after a pretty devastating loss, I feel like they just saw it. They saw it in us and how upset we were to lose. But again, we can use it to fire us up, and it was a good learning curve. Like when we lost against UF, our first loss of the year against to a D2 team, we had to have had, I don't know, 1,000 people in the stands, and we were
Mhm.
awful. We played. It was our worst game of the season, not even close. And it was a good humbling moment for us. So we just got to take the things that we've learned throughout the whole year, take the things that coach has been preaching, that the leadership has been preaching, and just show up and just do it. It's easier said than done. So we're trying to practice with that playoff mentality and just working on the little details of the game, because again, that's all it takes. One little turnover, one stupid penalty, So we've been working on that. We have 2 weeks here, and yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. And then the last thing, it was like, how are you guys kind of dealing with the kind of the gap in between the conference tournament and nationals kind of sitting around like 2 weeks? It's kind of awkward. Like a couple teams around the conference are playing some one-off games. How are you guys kind of staying and trying to keep in good form and stuff heading into nationals?
Yeah. Well, for us, obviously, we're practicing these playoffs. We're going
Yeah.
as hard as we can. We're doing high paced drills. We're doing off ice workouts. We're getting extra ice at rinks close to our rink. So we're not just sitting around waiting for nationals. We're using this time to get better. We're training. So all the guys buy in and continue to do so. I think we'll be ready to go.
Gotcha, man. Well, thanks so much for joining us, Matias Weir, the Division II MVP from College Hockey South and Florida Atlantic. So, I want to say thanks again for joining us, and I wish you and all of the guys at Florida Atlantic the best of luck the rest of the way.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, you bet. And thank you for listening to both of our interviews. I want to say thank you to Pete Bunch from Tennessee and Matias Weir from Florida Atlantic. I really enjoyed talking to both of them, and I want to wish the best of luck to them and their teams heading into nationals here in a couple weeks. Before we sign off for this episode, I want to mention as well to check out the Division III playoffs of College Hockey South going on this weekend in Lakeland, Florida. Games going on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Lakeland. So if you're not able to make it out to the rink down here in Florida, then make sure to check out all the games streaming live here on the College Hockey South YouTube channel. Like I said before, every single game is going to be found there if you're not able to make it out to the rink. So make sure you're following along with that this weekend. So with that being said, I want to say thank you as well to our producer, Harrison Smadjevich, for producing this episode and all of them right here on the College Hockey South podcast. And I want to say thank you as well for all of you for listening to this week. So we'll talk to you next time. Make sure you like and subscribe here on the College Hockey South YouTube channel and keep it locked here this weekend for the Division III playoffs. Talk to you guys next time.